Guys, we saw another movie.
We did. We kept our tradition of seeing the new, gritty, extended universe DC films. We've seen every one for Chapo, and this is the next one. For me, that's the best one because this is the first one where I got to go with the movie with you guys.
Yeah,
I didn't have to watch it alone in the Midwest.
It was the full family movie lineup.
It was great. I really
the movie theater
enjoyed
experience wonderful for us,
Horrible
unbearable for everyone else in the theater.
Well, I presume that everyone who also saw the 2:30 show of Justice League also works at podcasts. Otherwise, what the fuck else are you doing?
All I know is that there was plenty of room in that thing for nobody to be near our shenanigans. But right before the movie started, an older white woman sat down right in front of us. And I was absolutely baffled. Like, we were being rowdy from the jump. Well, what was she doing? What did she think was going to happen?
Sat down right where Matt had his feet up. So
yeah, I had to put my feet down.
The whole
That's woman spreading.
And then I did about 10 minutes of gestures and facial expressions.
Now, that's a New Yorker cartoon when it's one person in a movie theater and then a man in a large cowboy hat comes and sits in front of that person, and the caption is like, "Oh boy, what an asshole."
The caption is like, "My therapist warned me about this."
Ooh,
Yeah, every New Yorker cartoon, it's about therapy.
Yeah, that's true.
so him
It's
on this.
the Nick Berg beheading, and he's like, "Oh God, I'm gonna have to have a double session."
Honey, you were right.
Well, we were all very grace under pressure in the film. Felix already mentioned it. We're talking about Justice League. Woo! As I like to call it, the Just Us League.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Justice League, the latest entry in the Warner Brothers DC movie canon. I think the alternate title for Justice League is the movie in which the word box is said at least 50 times.
Yeah.
Mother box.
Mother box,
Yeah.
box, and boxes. Some variation on just the word box is said, like I said, maybe 100 times.
There is a Richard Kelly film called The Box from the late aughts, and they say box fewer times in that movie than in this one.
Yeah.
And it's called The Box. It's just nothing but box.
We will be talking about the box when the box is, rather. There are 3 boxes that are very important.
Very
to this movie.
important boxes.
Yeah.
We got to see the box.
Yeah. It was very. I wondered why they didn't develop like more euphemisms for it, or at least try a little harder. Like they
What
were
was
going to
the
go
other
with
one?
like pussy cube or something, and they're like,
Hey,
not so.
Wait a minute.
Can you get the gash ornament?
Oh, fuck.
Like they could have hired a writer or something.
Well, they didn't hire a writer. They hired Joss Whedon.
Josh Whedon.
Yeah, you're right.
The scientist called one of them something else. The source cube or the
change engine?
change agent.
Change
That's
engine?
it.
Yeah,
The change
something
agent.
that sounds like it's bad and corny and like sci-fi, but it sounds like they didn't just put it in as a placeholder and like we'll write something better than that later.
Yeah, you
No,
got the,
change agent sounds like the Economist talking about Emmanuel Macron. This cube deregulates your labor markets.
But Mother Cube sounds like some sort of like weird German psychoanalyst theory.
You must lie, it's the Mother Cube.
Yeah.
I wasn't contrite about my crimes in the Holocaust until I sat in a pink felt cube.
No, all the dialogue in this movie generally sounded like it was written by someone, half written by someone who thinks that penultimate means like the most ultimate, and half written by a hideously disgusting childlike man who likes to DM women. You rock. And then like a picture.
You know
Well,
what
the interesting thing about this movie that we've alluded to is that this is strange and a departure from the other DC movie canon because it represents this due to a personal tragedy and like Hollywood production schedules. The movie ended up being this bizarre, like edited together mash of a Zack Snyder film and a Joss Whedon film.
Yeah, they brought in Josh Whedon to finish the movie.
The Justice League movie, the movie, like I said, that I will refer to as the box movie from now on, is a movie that essentially edits together the two clashing and utterly discordant and unbearable styles of Zack Snyder and Josh Whedon.
It just from shot to shot, you would go from this brooding, dark, super stylized world of aggrieved masculinity to this flighty, shittily shot, looks like it's a fucking green screen or a soap opera, two characters standing in front, just a horrible like two shot from a TV show, trading banter like an episode of Golden Girls.
You left off the fact that like 65% of this movie was expositional monologue because
About
they have
the box.
9 fucking about a box, but no, like about the backstories of these characters because they have 9 fucking protagonists in it, and they want to give them all their own like brooding dark monologue, which is like half the movie.
I want to. We've spent a lot of time like going after Zack Snyder, and I want to say seeing like an incomplete Zack Snyder film, seeing a movie that was taken over by the worst criminal on earth, a man, unrepentantly evil man, Josh Whedon. I am sorry to Zack Snyder, and I want to defend you because I was excited for a Zack Snyder experience where it's 3 hours of male characters being a foreskin's length away from each other going, "Oh, I'm going to do it. No, you're not going to do it. I'm going to make you do it. I want to be inside of you to kill you." Penetrating each other, so to speak.
In the mother boxes.
And in the mother box. But instead, we were tortured with, but say about 40% of dialogue is like the very awkward, very adorable Flash character going, did somebody say lunch? Oh, wait, you're having an argument. That's not what someone would say during an argument. It's comic relief. Oh, remember Nickelodeon Dak?
Okay, your main objection to it is completely juvenile. You just want there to be more Pound My Boy box.
Look, this is you guys don't understand athletes. You don't understand traditional masculinity. When me and my like male friends who are strong, which I'm sorry, it's not. You guys are strong in character, but not in body. Our bond is unspeakable. We meet. We get like our faces are next to each other. We don't shake up or do any of that childish stuff. We're like, yeah, you only know what you think I can do. Like Zack Snyder style dialogue.
The introduction of the mother box was, I'm convinced, that was when Josh took over the movie. It was the boy box in the Zack Snyder version. It became mother box when Josh Whedon took it over and gave a screenwriting credit to Peter Dow.
Yeah. The mother box, like when Josh heard there was a concept called mother box, he was like, matriarchy, you shut up and take my money. And it's like fucking hat spun around.
I want to...
fuck.
I want to get into the movie, but as is traditional for us when we do a Chapo movie review, I need to talk about the overall movie theater experience, and by that I mean the trailers, because I consider it part of a movie is the trailers.
Absolutely. If I miss trailers, I'm genuinely disappointed.
Yeah, there were some pretty good trailers. I want to get to the best one last. I'm going to begin with there was a trailer for a movie that was an adaptation of the biblical story of Samson and Delilah, featuring
awesome.
Rutger Hauer at one point.
Yep. Rutger Hauer rocks. I'm glad
Who's
to
the
see
other
that.
Billy Zane.
Billy Zane was
I'm glad Billy Zane is making a comeback.
He's making it. He's doing it. Speaking of Billy Zane, we are eventually going to have to do In the Valley of Wolves episode, right?
Oh, right, the Turkish action
Turkish
movie.
one.
Yeah.
Guess who's in that? Tito Ortiz.
And Gary Busey.
Gary Busey plays a Jewish doctor who's stealing organs from Iraqis.
It's awesome. And Zane is the evil
Gary
Christian
Busey.
spec ops guy.
The only other notable thing about the Samson movie was that it was clearly the big highlight of the trailer was, I'm very happy to say, a filmed action sequence that adapts, in my opinion, the best story in the Bible. Samson smoting 50 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass.
It's pretty sweet.
And indeed, they kept it to biblically literal because he was tooling guys up with a jawbone.
It was pretty impressive.
So my verdict is I'm excited for the Samson movie, and I'm excited for it to be a rallying cry for red pill people who will take this story and say, yeah, that's a woman taking a powerful man's hair, his virility. That's just what happened to me and my ex-wife.
That's why that's why they say not to wash your hair.
Delilah slips soy into his diet, and that's he loses his powers.
I'm a soy boy.
Okay. there was a movie called that I genuinely probably will see, if not in theaters and certainly renting, The Commuter with Liam Neeson.
Ooh,
hell
Fucking, an action film based on Metro North.
Yes,
How can
it's-
I turn that down?
Yes, it's the Bernie
sounds
Getz
fake.
story.
Next up, there was Pitch Perfect 3. Don't really have much to say about that movie.
And,
Give it a break,
They had
ladies.
they had to cut out Al Franken's cameo from that movie.
all I got to say about Pitch Perfect 3, it's sort of disappointing to see a movie in 2017, 2018 being put out with barely any men in it. Like, come on, let's do better.
Yeah, that movie could not pass the reverse Bechdel test.
Yeah.
There was Jumanji. Yeah,
Right, you're all familiar with the regular Jumanji, which was about a board game, but this one had sassy millennials who went, nobody plays board games anymore.
Yeah.
Let's play the Jumanji video game.
Yeah.
And they become characters in the Jumanji video
Yeah.
game.
I know. That's one of those movies, and this happens once in a while. I see it, and I get a bone deep conviction, and it's sort of prophecy and self-fulfilling prophecy of I will see that movie on an airplane. I got it when I saw the commercial for Pixels, and I did see it on an airplane, and
Really?
I vowed to see Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle on an airplane.
I watched both the Sex and the City movies on an airplane because I'm deathly afraid of flying. And I learned, though, that if I'm furious, I can't be scared.
That's right. That's
the Felix Biederman story.
Welcome to my way of life. Pissed, not afraid.
Well, I'm excited for you to see Jumanji so you can learn more about gaming culture.
Oh, wait, there was also a Latino Pixar movie, which is, like all Pixar movies will be viewed by all spree killers.
I heard
Yeah.
that was very good. I've heard very good things about it.
Well, from who? Let me
People-
guess. So it's for kids, but there's good stuff for adults.
Yeah.
I like to scare my family.
Are you not familiar with the creative output of Pixar?
Yeah, it's fucking psycho.
Yeah,
Sucks.
yeah, exactly. Everybody who said that this movie is good are these horribly anhedonic zombies who it basically going to see a Pixar movie is the equivalent of lighting like putting cigarettes out on themselves. It's the only way they could feel.
Yeah, Pixar movies. Oh wow, they have some really complex adult morals in there. Like you should be nice to people.
Yeah,
or like
make eye contact.
Yeah.
Well, all I got
To be honest, I think some of us could use a brush up on both of those things.
well,
I'm the polite guy.
all I gotta say is when you see that little lamp jump over all the letters, and you know you're in for some quality content.
We also, and also right before the trailer started, we also saw a brief Overwatch commercial, which I know Virgil enjoyed. And there was at one point the gorilla character is like,
Winston.
says, "Who of you will join us?" And we were all like, "Yes, us,
All
and
of us.
especially Matt, especially Matt."
I can't wait to play Overwatch.
I'm gonna go to Canada instead of being fucking drafted into the Overwatch army.
Okay, next up there was Ready Player One, which I'm convinced is like our cultural apocalypse of like
It is-
finally
we have to
just cannibalizing every last shred of nostalgia and just churning it right back out.
Absolute shit.
The one thing that was really funny in the trailer is that it begins and like the person's like, "I was born in 2025 here in Columbus, Ohio," and all I could think about is just like, "Hey man, welcome to Street Fighter."
He puts out.
If you do enough kratom, you go into a parallel dimension that's like that pseudo world that they're in. But that movie looks absolutely like garbage. As Patton said on this show, it's a movie. It's like Jaws, where the villain is the shark is nostalgia. How it's just going to kill you. I am convinced that we're going to have to do episodes on the next two Spielberg movies because The Post is so nauseating to even contemplate, and I'm going to put it down near guaranteed marker against the field. Anyone wants to bet me The Post will win Best Picture?
Was it?
Well,
Is there
the
a trailer for it? Out?
Yeah. The Post will win Best Picture because it's going to send a message to the White House that a free press is vital to the maintenance of American democracy, sir. Yeah, no, it's about the Washington Post deciding to publish the Pentagon Papers in the face of a threat of a lawsuit from the White House. And it's just every fucking dingus, every resistance wad is
God.
they want that propaganda, baby. They want the public to remember that real news is not fake and you need it to have America. And it makes me want to fucking vomit. The goddamn Washington Post. You helped end the Vietnam War. Congratulations. Then you helped start the Iraq War. Pretty much erase that shit.
Well,
Wait. Did Good Night and Good Luck win an Oscar?
It was nominated. It did not win.
Which it should not have done. Another movie my family took me to. Great,
more abuse,
great
more violent abuse
against these. Protect me.
Well, Spotlight won Best Picture.
It did, exactly, and it's the same thing. So
Yeah,
I
it is,
say
it is the same thing. Are we just going to have a whole bunch
Yeah,
of
but
movies?
it won Best Picture so they could distract from other problems.
oh, that Catholic Church, they sure have a sex abuse problem.
Right, and there's one trailer in particular I want to talk about because we were all horrified by it. But last but not least, there was the trailer for the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie, which cultural Marxism has made her boobs not nearly big enough.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta say
I'm
about
on Ian
that.
Miles Chong's side now. He was right.
Okay, so last but not least, the one trailer that I think warrants special mention is a trailer for a movie called The Greatest Showman, which is like a sort of pop rock and roll musical of sorts starring Hugh Jackman as P.T. Barnum.
Yep.
Right? And it uses the life story of P.T. Barnum to craft a kind of woke, uplifting tale about a guy who took a band of outsiders and
Yep.
you know.
Wait, it's a musical? I missed this.
No, it's
Yeah,
a musical.
yeah, it's a
and
musical.
Yeah.
He
Doesn't
takes
Hugh Jackman only do musicals now?
basically him that Wolverine in musicals. Eventually, there will be a Wolverine musical. That's the inevitable
Oh, yeah,
synthesis.
yeah. It'll run for years,
Yeah.
too.
But it's an original musical, not based on a Broadway show, with original songs.
Okay.
And yeah,
sort of like Moulin Rouge.
and it sells P.T. Barnum as this forward sort of a Branch Rickey of America, in that he brought these freaks into America's spotlight and made people accepting of diversity and difference,
Right.
as opposed to an absolutely cynical, monstrous con artist who fleeced people, was completely contemptuous of the American public, and hyper exploited totally vulnerable people in the form of these quote-unquote freaks.
As
who
we
he
said,
hang on,
who he
hang on.
basically kept in a human zoo.
Yeah.
Hang on, this is the post-Reconstruction era, and P.T. Barnum was one of the first integrationists. He had Asians, Africans, all sorts of people in his human
All in
zoo.
the same zoo.
Yeah, covered in tar and bird feathers behind bamboo cages.
Yeah,
Now-
when you're in a cage, you're all equal.
The absolute
Yeah,
most
the movie Freaks have been less exploitational.
Yes.
well, Freaks actually did have a
Freaks,
woke, uplifting
yeah.
message about
And-
social difference,
And it's like, we
outsiders.
will all band together and kill you.
kill that uppity bitch who
God, that was
sells
an
out the-
amazing movie.
Yeah,
Well, that's
the absolute most repugnant part of that trailer, and I just could not hold back when I heard this part, is a huge ass man saying to a bearded lady, "They don't understand you, but one day they will."
Don't listen to them. They don't understand yet. But they will.
So tell me, do you want to go?
amazing.
Now I looked
I
at,
like that people couldn't wrap their minds around it, and now we have the technology. We understand hirsutism.
Like a good
very
movie-
complicated identity.
I mean, it's a cliche about America that we worship con artistry, that we love con artists, that we don't care if someone is dishonest. We only want them to be on our side, which is, of course, how we got Trump as president.
And
that
how
all
our show is so successful.
That all started with Barnum, and the fact that we're so deluded about it, and there's so many buffers of ideology, that instead of just crassly, cynically celebrating a con artist for being good at his job, we have to turn him into an enlightened fucking avatar of social progress.
Yeah.
one thing I didn't see in the trailer that I think was necessary to bring up regarding the real P.T. Barnum. I'm just reading from his Wikipedia page here. It says, Barnum was a producer and promoter of blackface minstrelry. Barnum's minstrel shows often used double-edged humor. While replete with black stereotypes, Barnum's shows satirized, as in a stump speech, in which a black phrenologist, in a white guy in blackface, made a dialect speech parodying lectures given at the time to prove the superiority of the white
Oh my
race.
God!
God damn it, I
He
knew
was
someone
the
did
first podcast.
I knew someone did that cold open before. Scrap the one for this episode.
One more quote
Yeah,
from
no, that should be a good movie though. Like something
There
on
could be a
on
great
P.T.
movie.
Barnum.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would have
It's
to be
like-
directed by like fucking Cronenberg or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
It would have to be grimy and disgusting and nauseating.
Well, as I
It's
mentioned,
like how there could have been
Or
like
just like a solid drama.
It's like how there could have been like a amazing Chris Kyle movie about this lying
Yes.
murderer
Yes.
that would have been fucking amazing. Like
As
Port of Call New Orleans, Bad Lieutenant. Like it could in that style would have been amazing.
all right, that was the trailers. Be on the lookout for those films coming soon to a
Please
cinema-
avoid them all. They look
cinema
like
near
dog
you,
shit.
except for The Commuter with Liam
If
Neeson.
you were excited for the Pixar movie, please immediately turn yourself into authorities.
let's dive into Justice League. But before we do, we have to now. We have an entry for you from our global roving movie correspondent from Down
And
Under.
recent-
Birthday
Brady.
boy.
Happy birthday!
Recent birthday boy, Mitt Brady.
Happy birthday, Matt. V.
Good
Brady.
on you, mate.
Happy birth, Brady.
Oh yeah.
So Matt V. Brady is dialing in from Down Under with his review of Justice League. Let's take a listen.
Hello, Grey Wolves. It's international film correspondent Matt V. Brady here with a review of the latest thrilling blockbuster addition to the monochromatic DC Extended Cinematic Universe, Justice League, which was directed by Zack Snyder with a Joss Whedon Snapchat filter smacked over it. This is probably the easiest DC movie to follow in quite a while. It's basically about the formation of a super team, the Justice League of America, created by Batman. You might remember him. He was one of the main characters in the film Batman vs. Superman. He gathers the world's greatest heroes and Aquaman together to fight an invasion of flying bug things who, and this is just my opinion, are clearly allegorical stand-ins for the Apex gang. Zack Snyder barely even bothers to try and hide this. Now, the bad guys, the Apex gang, are seeking these magical cubes, drug shipments, which they will use to terraform the Earth and basically change it into an Earth where the knockout game is legal. Unfortunately, this plot is foiled when Superman, the ultimate representation of the racist white immigrant, shows up with a very normal and natural-looking top lip and proceeds to drop classic Joss Whedon lines such as, "Hey, is this party invite only or can anyone crash it?" And "You kiss your mother box with that mouth," while the machete attacks of the Apex gang bounce off harmlessly from his iron-hard skin. This all takes place in Russia for some reason, possibly because they hacked the election, I can't really say. All in all, I'd say that Justice League is an amazingly mediocre film, which also means that it's probably by far the best DC movie yet, except because it doesn't have Captain Boomerang in it, and also because it insults my beloved Apex gang, both Justice League and Joss Whedon can go and get fucked. 2 stars.
Birthday boy and international roving movie critic
Heartthrob.
Matt V. Brady.
For people who aren't familiar with hysterical tabloid entertainment and news in Australia, the Apex Gang is a likely fictional gang of Sudanese immigrants who terrorize suburban Australian neighborhoods.
It's the knockout game. for
It's
Australia.
basically the knockout game in the antipodes.
So to begin, one of the things Brady referenced in his review is Superman's completely convincing and human top lip,
Yep.
which gets into the very opening scene of this movie, which is like cell phone camera recorded footage of Superman after he saves some. And what are the kids doing? They want to interview him for a podcast.
Yep.
So
Very relatable to
I
the
liked-
youth of today.
I like the podcast culture that was on display in this movie.
When Joss Whedon saw the Henry Cavill's disconcerting
Cavill.
CGI mouth, who gives a shit? When they saw Henry Cavill's disconcerting CGI mouth, he got so excited he tried to DM it a long screed about Hillary Clinton.
Well, when those kids, the podcast kids, are recording Superman, they ask him questions like, "So, who are your guys?"
But like the thing was, like the weird CGI mouth thing was a result of this weird scheduling conflict, as we discussed.
Yep.
Henry Cavill was going to be in the new
Very
Mission
funny.
Impossible movie and had a beard and a mustache in that, and they had to bring him back for reshoots, and they redid
Yep.
probably 2/3 of the movie. And the other studio that was doing Mission Impossible was like, he can't possibly shave.
Yeah.
So they just decided to have him do a performance and then digitally
And
shave him.
the funniest part is that from what I've read, they were begging the other studio, I think Paramount, to let them shave him. And when they said no, they said, "All right, how about this? He shaves, then he goes back to the movie, and we will pay to digitally add a mustache." in your movie.
Oh my god!
And they said,
no.
yeah, no. If only one of us is going to have a shitty CGI facial hair situation, and it's not going to be us.
Can you believe this industry has any scandals?
Yeah, it seems so not petty and idiotic.
What I liked about the opening scene with Superman and his weird CGI shaved face is that it did set the tone for the rest of the movie, which was unbelievably lazy and bad CGI special effects.
Yeah.
Some of the worst I've seen.
It looked like a PlayStation 3 game.
Folks, it
was
looked like a
hideous.
fam.
Yeah.
It was just shit, garbage shit. It was all at the level of the climax of Suicide Squad that made me famously yell awful at the screen.
This Suicide Squad was far better than this. Batman versus Superman was
And the
better
funny
than
thing
this.
is that fucking the bad guy, we'll get to him, the awful bad guy, the character design, he was basically the same as the stupid lava monster at the end of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, well,
mixed with the awful lady from Morty Morphin Power Rangers, Rita Repulsa.
Rick and Morty Power
Rick and
Rangers.
Morty Power Rangers.
Yeah, the thing that I've noticed about these DC movies is, I mean, all superhero movies now are just like green screen fucking jizzing lasers at each other, and depending on who is involved, they have some like, oh, well, I'm the sidekick, I'm supposed to say that. Well, if you say this, you're the sidekick, well, then you can't say that. You know, the influence of the horrible, perverted Fedora Man. And, but the commonality in all DC films is that the villain's only objective is like, I want to blow everything up. There's just nothing, but they just want to end the world. And
Yeah, it's
like,
so fucking lazy and nebulous and meaningless. There's no way you can give a shit.
But the world has already fallen at the start of the film. I guess it's because Superman has died.
Yes.
That happened in the
prior
one you
film.
didn't see.
But I want to say these were kind of shoehorned in. These first two scenes after the title card showed the world has fallen. Society is fracturing, as explained by a skinhead harassing a Muslim shop owner by knocking over some oranges in the street while a police officer struggles to prevent this man from doing a hate crime, as of course the police might do.
And there's like a homeless man. Really, it's
There's a
just
homeless
literally everything throughout existence that is already there.
Yeah.
They don't really show any disasters. It's just like
it's like everything's still shitty now. Maybe it was better before.
And
it's all done to the tune of some female singer's tinkly piano cover of Leonard Cohen's "Everybody Knows."
it was the last woman Joss Whedon DM'd. He was like, do you want to be in a picture? I think you have star quality, but not a shooting star, because I hope you don't go out. I just talk like this all the time.
My personal theory for the film is that this is supposed to be reflective of the Trump administration, of the new reality here.
which means it's about what it was during
Because
the Obama
Superman
years.
dying. Superman
Well, hate
died.
crimes-
Who's Superman? Obama.
I just noticed that
Obama's
homelessness
gone.
and hate crimes, that started just 6 months ago, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't have a name for those things
Yeah, yeah.
before.
Yeah,
I thought
no.
they were just roused about.
Obama died. He was Superman, and now we're in the Trump era, which is of the Bugmen and the fucking horned dude who wants to destroy
There's
the
also that
world.
one awful, atrocious line that Ben Affleck says, mentioning global warming.
Oh, God, yeah.
That was bad.
Well, what I say that stuff was shoehorned in is because we literally just never discuss any social ailments for the rest of the fucking
Well,
film.
the movie it is got a nice dose of cultural Marxism, because the first two things you see to know that things are going badly is, one is the skinhead attack on the Muslim shopkeeper, and two is a bunch of Reddit red pill Dark Enlightenment guys try to do a terrorist attack in London
Yes.
that Wonder Woman foils.
I want to talk about the neo-reactionary bank heist. A guy walks into a bank not to steal money, but to he's wearing a fedora and a suit. He's like one of those. He's a Dark Enlightenment
He
terrorist.
looks like the fucking Orino motherfucker, one of the alt
Davis Oriani.
Davis Oriani.
And Wonder Woman enters the bank by coincidence because she thinks someone was picked up a thing of Sabra hummus and put it down and tried to buy the other kind. She wanted to break up a more important crime, but it just happened into the neo-reactionary bank crime.
And the neo-reactionary terrorist says, "This is blowing up a bank full of people is mankind's only hope. End modernity."
Yeah, he's like, we must destroy modernity.
And then he
too.
said right before he's like switches the key on like the suitcase bomb, says read Mencius Moldbug.
Yeah, Moldbug wants to blow up some big public building to end modernity, which good luck with that, buddy. And the funniest thing is she lassos one of the terrorists, one of the other Davis Serini guys, and she says, "Who are you?" And he says, "We're a small reactionary terrorist group."
We're here to bring down the cathedral.
It's like they wrote that in notes, and they're like, "I'll write it in later."
Yeah, it's like, we need to convey to the audience these pieces of information with the name.
To be fair,
and they're like, we'll just put that in.
To be fair,
they had to make clear to the audience that they weren't terrorists because they were an oppressed people.
To be fair, the lasso wasn't on at the time. That's just how all those guys talk all the time.
Yeah. Well, but no terrorist group A calls themselves a terrorist group, or B says they're small, or would likely say reactionary. It's just a placeholder.
I don't know. I mean, Al Qaeda used to say like cute decentralized group, whom small, and sometimes do a hijacking.
We are small because we are the enlightened minority. We are more intelligent than other people. And reach these conclusions.
We're small beans.
Yeah. So like, when Wonder Woman's like doing, just slaying fuckboys, like London, they're like S logos all over London. For Jimmy,
because they're mourning the death of Superman.
They're mourning the death of Jimmy Savile. It's like,
"Oh, Jimmy, come back! We need you.
We misjudged you. It turns out everybody's a nonce now."
So yeah, like I said, the movie begins with Batman captures one of the Bugmen.
Yeah,
or he captures one of the
small-souled Bugmen.
One of the Bugmen from another dimension. He gets the bug.
He's a bug chaser, you might call him.
But yeah, the movie begins with Batman bug chasing, and then he realizes that this army from another dimension is coming. So he has to assemble.
He's got to assemble
the Justice League,
the guys who he conveniently found out about from a fucking a computer file in the last movie, which was, I said episode because these are basically just long TV episodes at this point. There's a scene in Batman vs Superman which is hilarious, that as a fan of canon and like things like that, you would find very funny, Virgil, where he just clicks on some stuff from Lex Luthor's company, and it's just little videos of all the four guys so that you can introduce the audience to them. It's like, hey guys, tune in for the next movie, and so he goes around trying to find them all.
That's called intertextuality.
It's called sucks.
We have already discussed at length Wonder Woman and her backstory.
And again, Batman has to assemble
However,
four random people.
Well, we like I
they
said,
keep coming back though to Gal Gadot's backstory, which is essentially, I knew a guy for 3 weeks. We had sex once, and I've been obsessed with him for 70 years.
100 years.
That
1917.
woman is
100 years.
a psychopath.
Yeah,
that is a psychopathic woman.
They had sex once, as we know from the movie, and then he died 100 years ago, and she's still caught up on him.
Maybe he was like a
thicko.
Maybe he had that girth though.
Is that how people dealt with breakups in the 1910s or whatever?
Yes.
I would assume they would like binge watch Edison films, a man washing a horse or some such.
No,
go a little hard on the milk toast.
every modern.
We're gonna watch a Zoetrope for the next 15 hours.
Every modern creation is from people who are trying to get through breakups. The UN breakup, USSR breakup, World War II breakup. Sometimes they can be good, sometimes they can be bad.
That's very true.
It's like as long as you suppress your emotions, you can start something good, like the Soviet Union.
I don't think suppressing your emotions is good generally.
That depends.
Yeah, it depends. That's fair.
So we know the backstories of Mr. Batman, Superman, and the Woman of Wonder.
Yes.
Listen to back episodes to fill yourself in on that.
Yep.
But then they introduce the rounding out the rest of the Justice League. Let's talk about Aquaman, played by Khal Drogo, Jason Momoa himself of Game of Thrones.
The best character, the funnest character.
Momoa's performance was the most lively, the closest to something I'd call entertaining
and charismatic.
I disagree.
Really?
I think The Flash was.
Fuck you! The Flash was awful.
I agree.
He was much more entertaining.
I agree.
Oh, he was
He
awful.
was entertaining. He was realistic. He reacted to situations how a normal person would react to them.
It was the
most
best.
muggy.
It was the closest fucking thing you had to any comic relief in
But
the
it was so
entire movie.
try hard. And
Oh yeah, because Jason Momoa going, I'm going to drink some whiskey, and then there's going to be some electric guitar in the back, and then
That
I'm going to
was
jump.
funny.
Yeah, you're
Cool.
right. That was a light touch.
No, that was funny.
That was a light
but
touch.
that's what's it. That was hilarious. Like my favorite scene in the movie, a movie I was crying laughing during, is there's a
Yeah,
scene
I
where
know.
he saves a guy.
Everyone in the theater do.
Yeah, there's a guy. He saves a guy who's sinking in a boat, and he puts him into a tavern on the side of the water, and then he grabs a bottle of whiskey off the bar, and he slow motion walks into the surf while chugging the whiskey while
then
fucking
throwing the bottle on the
Iggy,
ground.
Icky Thump by White Stripes plays, and it's the most dipshit, dumbass, like fucking late '90s.
Your argument
butt
though
rock
is that
idiocy.
I
It
like
ruled.
this ironically, so it's
No,
better.
it wasn't ironic.
I-
It was, you know what it was like? It was like a fucking Andrew WK song. It's ironic, but it's so exuberant about it that it goes around from being ironic to being genuinely good.
No, you
No, your
omitted
brain is
you
broken.
omitted the best part too, which is when he was walking out of there. He grabs a whiskey bottle and he points to this guy who's like passed out that he just saved and says it's on him.
Yeah, I know, it rules.
Actually,
Yeah, that
actually, the
kicks
best
ass.
part of that scene that
We
Amber
need
alluded
another
to briefly.
woman on this show.
Well, I mean, if you thought The Flash was entertaining, there's this indie TV show you might like. It's called The Big Bang Theory with similar humor to The Flash.
No, I'm sorry. Look,
He might as well have been saying
We're talking
Bazinga.
about the most entertaining person
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah, and it was Aquaman.
I am the only one who noticed this little Easter egg. So the Flash is this nebbish young man.
Yeah, they
who's
made him Jewish.
father's-
They-
And on the spectrum.
Which doesn't even make sense.
No.
Because-
He says,
no. He's definitely.
He
singing-
says at one point,
Yeah.
people, I don't really relate
It
to them.
doesn't
I
even
can't-
make sense though, because I don't think they gave him the Jewish last name, unlike Batman, Superman, Bugman. They're basically a law firm.
Well, he had to change it from Fleischer.
My uncle gave me these powers.
When he is recruited by the Batman, you can see very clearly in the scene that Rick and Morty is playing an episode of Rick and Morty. I'm the only one who knows
Psychology
this one.
introvert, baby.
It is the episode where with all the cursed items from season 1, and that, you know what? That's a pretty clever thing from the part of the filmmakers.
No,
A
it's-
pretty clever indication that this is a millennial. They're a little intelligent. They perhaps can't relate to others because of their high intelligence.
That's not. Yeah.
No, so that's
No,
just it. It's
I
so,
think they at least
it's-
tried to put in a non-stock character with him,
But
which
they're-
I appreciated because literally no one else had any dimension.
But that he was a stock character now. The adorkable like young man is a stock character
he
now.
He was stock as hell. He was millennial Poochie.
Yeah.
He was like, he had
Millennial
all of the
Poochie is a more creative overture than the fucking Aquaman thing.
No, that guy was like a living share zone meme. He ruled. He was like he was a pissed off Facebook dirtbag for the Midwest who's mad about headphone theft
There's one
and
scene-
DUIs that he thinks were bullshit.
There's one scene that we all laughed out loud.
I'm
on when-
surrounded by toxic masculinity.
No,
The
there's one
reason
scene.
that Aquaman was so good was because Jason Momoa didn't know he was in a movie. They were just like, Jason, you're in charge of all the fish now. That's a power you have. And he's like, I fucking knew it. People always told me that I related to fish.
But
I
don't get me
fucking
wrong,
knew it.
he's definitely the most charismatic actor on the screen, and my mother Brox appreciated his presence. But I mean, as far as putting any work into any writing whatsoever,
Okay,
I agree with you, Amber, but I will say Jason Momoa's character was also entertaining.
okay. He was the ocean bastard.
yeah.
He drinks whiskey.
Fish bastard.
And like you said,
the salt in my face.
but Amber, you mentioned it briefly, like the scene where he chugs the whiskey to the White Stripes song, walking to the surf. It really pissed me off. He chucks the bottle in the fucking ocean. He's Aquaman. He's not supposed to be littering.
That's not littering. He's
glass is
recycling.
fine.
He's like, oh, but
I mean, the ocean is full of glass, sea glass.
Dude, he is contributing to garbage.
It would be funny if they cut to a fish getting its head stuck in the bottle, like, you know, and it can't
Throwing
get
glass
out.
in the ocean is fine.
that's a metaphor for his DUIs.
Yeah.
Oh,
What I will
Pretty
say about
smart. Pretty
Aquaman's
smart.
one weakness, one of those 6-pack rings.
what I will say about the Barry Allen, the Flash character, I found incredibly grating because it was just the comic relief. He was the comic relief character, but it was just like what passes for comic relief in films like this now is just the character who says the things that the quirky audience member watching it would if they were in that situation. Like,
Oh, awesome. As a bat signal, that's your... Oh, sorry. That's your signal. That means we have to go now.
Yeah, that's what that means.
It's so cool.
Yeah, but it
nice
was
cape.
literally a relief in the most literal way, as a break from like just this perpetual. Even Wonder Woman did it. They all furrowed their brows.
Well, that's
the
her one
entire fucking that's what acting is to her.
Yeah, her entire her entire acting toolbox is just the frown.
But it's just like 4 furrowed brows and like a bumbling idiot. And I was like, you know what? I'm pleased to see the bumbling idiot.
So I did also find him a comic relief, but I could only think of I don't really watch like action films like this. So I do, of course, have great respect for the canon. And one I saw a couple years ago was the X-Men movie Tales of Future Past. I think that's what it was called. And
it was Bryan Singer's Gaze of Teenage Ass.
Cut that. But very
Don't
funny.
dare cut that.
Bryan Singer really wanted to direct an Aquaman movie. He's like, I've got a pool. Come on.
And there's one, and again, I don't know a lot about these movies, but there's that one X-Men character who has a very similar ability to the Flash, right?
Yeah, Quicksilver.
Quicksilver, right.
Yeah.
And he was incredibly fun and charismatic. Like they portrayed him.
Yeah, but the thing is, he is the exact, and that's why he's not that creative. They basically took his dynamic. They took Quicksilver's character from the X-Men movies, where he's the kind of awkward teen millennial outsider who points out the things like Will was saying. It's the same thing, and he also has the same power.
But that's the thing.
Quicksilver isn't awkward.
Quicksilver was way more fun.
He's scowly.
No,
he was extremely confident.
Yeah, he was cool. He was cool.
Cocky.
He was cool.
He was cool. He ran really fast.
He had goggles.
Now
we stole Spiro Agnew's cigar.
The last character, the last member of the Justice League,
boy.
is sort of the wild card. This is sort of like
Black Robot.
Yeah, Cyborg.
Yeah.
He was.
He's sort of emo.
But he did the
P.O.
same fucking
Cyborg.
thing. He did the same fucking thing where they give them like a brooding monologue, and then he's not that interesting, and the only thing he does is brood and scowl for the rest of the movie.
Like his character is he's like, as Chris pointed out, his father is played by Joe Morton, who also played the scientist who made the Terminators in T2.
Yeah.
So he's just being typecast now
As a guy who makes robots.
who makes cyborgs. Except this cyborg was like based on he used the corpse of his own son to make a cyborg with one of the boxes.
Yeah, one of the mother boxes squirted all over.
Can we talk about?
I've heard about helicopter parents, but folks, the cyborg. Hideo Kojima, if you're listening, have Joe Morton play the DARPA chief in the Metal Gear Solid movie. I love you.
Yeah, his whole arc is.
What I like about the cyborg character is that he starts out as sort of like a NEET. He's not leaving the house. He's not doing anything.
Yeah,
and
that's true. His dad's like, go outside, meet a girl.
It's hard
And he's
for
like,
him
I don't
to
have a
walk
penis.
around. Yeah.
Download Tinder.
Well, that's the thing. They want you to believe that the Flash is the millennial character, but he's like the millennial blackface character. The real millennial is the neat.
True.
Online, just reading posts on his hands.
You know, you're right about that, because his conflict is that because he is a human head basically on a cyber body, he is becoming one with a machine in a way that's basically disassociating himself from his own mind, because there's alien sort of digital thought processes in it that he doesn't recognize. And that is a parable for the millennial relationship with the internet.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, first he just watches, and then when he suddenly feels like the moral calling to participate in this, he's like, "I've got to do it. I've got to post."
And it's a parable for call out culture.
And then what's his first post? Hey, sweetie.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, holy.
He would also be disqualified from e-gaming for illegal enhancements.
Yeah, he texts Wonder Woman.
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, but real girl."
So that's the Justice League. Essentially, the plot of the movie revolves around boxes.
Yes.
As I mentioned, I'd like to talk about the boxes again.
The box.
What's in the box?
I gotta say, their decision to look at the extended Marvel Cinematic Universe and say, a big interdimensional creature trying to collect a bunch of gems and cubes, that's stupid. How about an interdimensional creature trying to collect a bunch of boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, out of everything that was awful in this movie, and there were many, nothing comes close to just the unbearably grinding misery of the villain in this movie, who is called a 100% CGI character called Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
Who
Get your motor running, everybody.
he heads out on the highway and wants to make Earth into like a lava pit.
He's going to make Earth into a hot town.
Yeah. He's going to take us all on a magic carpet ride to death.
And like we said, like he just had a big sort of horned helmet that looked almost exactly like we said the bad guy from Power Rangers.
Yep.
And he, you know what? Remember in Wonder Woman when the bad guy like became very powerful by adding gravel to his body or some shit? Same type of deal where he has like just some crusty ass flesh helmet.
And he looked kind of the same as fucking David Thewlis
as
too.
Ares. Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm
like
saying.
all they could do is make this single CGI bad guy. Thanos from the like everyone was creaming themselves for that. The Avengers trailer. Thanos is the same fucking thing. He just doesn't have a hat.
You could show Joss Whedon like a fucking tree that your 3-year-old cousin just hastily draws a face on, and he'll be like, "Oh my god, that is amazeballs." That's
but all he does.
Did somebody order a villain? I don't mean the one in the White House.
Stop it!
What? Someone methinks that someone doth protest too much.
Stop it!
What were people saying about liking the Flash? Because it's the same dialogue.
Yeah, 100% correct. But yeah, this Steppenwolf character, he shows up and he wants to get there. There are three mother boxes hidden in 3 different spots on Earth, and he needs to collect them all, Pokemon style, and then fuse them together. And if he fuses them together, then he basically terraforms Earth into his home planet for some reason that's never explained because he has zero motivation. At one point,
he's just evil.
He's just evil, and the most shameless part is, and half-assed part, frankly, is. For people who don't follow this stuff, and God bless you for not following it, the plan with this Justice League thing is that this dude is really a placeholder bad guy for the big bad that they're introducing, who's going to be like Thanos in the Marvel Darkseid. And he was basically Thanos for DC before Thanos existed. But now they're kind of Johnny-come-lately with it. And their introduction of him into the narrative is Steppenwolf goes, "I will destroy this earth, and it will become my realm, and I will waken the mother for Darkseid." And
Wait. Can we also talk about his minions, the Bugmen?
We talked about the Bugman. He's got the small-souled Bugman.
They eat...
They love fear. They eat fear, yes.
So it's like this completely conceptual idea of... I think that they really tried to do some kind of Trump metaphor with this.
The way that fear...
It's a lot.
Like he is the mad guy is made powerful by people's fear. The way
that's also a DC thing. That was also in Wonder Woman, where like she couldn't win until she was like, being a human's about love. It's the same type of thing. Yeah.
She couldn't do her job until she got dicked down. Was actually the moral.
That's the thing about.
Speaking of dicked down, what did they do with Alfred? They were like, okay, we like Alfred as a concept, but can we make him into like a sexy grandpa I'd like to fuck? So they got Jeremy fucking Irons in it, being very weird.
Yeah, because the king, Zack Snyder, recognizes true male-male relationships like Socrates and the students would have had.
The Wasp guys are supposed to be these scary henchmen who consume.
They're Pepe.
They're called the official name for them are parademons.
Yep.
But they just get their.
Wow, that's really cool.
They just consistently get their asses kicked. They're like on Venture Brothers, the Monarch's henchmen.
Yeah.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, but that's what they're there for. They're there to because here's the real thing, and this one of the funniest things that happened in this movie. Spoiler alert! At some point, they bring Superman back, and they fight him because he's all fucked up from being dead. And
I want to talk.
All
about
that does is show that they are absolutely useless compared to Superman. Superman is the only one you need. The rest of them are totally superfluous.
No, they needed Black Robot because he's the only person with the ability to separate the things.
Him and Superman did too, though.
Yeah, they still need.
Well, let me. I would just.
But
guys, if you don't mind, I just would like. I have to insist that we talk about the boxes again.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk about the boxes.
No, we've got to talk a lot about the boxes.
The boxes is what the movie's about.
Yeah.
It's about boxes.
It's about boxes.
There are 3 boxes. The boxes are assembled at a different factory than the one in the movie. but there are 3 boxes that originally, like, Steppenwolf had come to Earth in the ancient era of heroes, in which the Amazons, the Atlanteans, and all Greek gods, and then people.
Again, there's
forces.
so much fucking. It's interdimensional. It's extraterrestrial. It's old gods.
Steppenwolf's plan, though, is to gather the 3 boxes. One is held by the Amazons, one is held by the Atlanteans, and then one is held by people. And then when he has the 3 boxes, he will put the boxes together and do something called the Unity.
Concept unification.
The moral, the like religious canon of these DC movies just is Baha'i. Because it's every fucking religion jammed together. Yeah, you got your Celtic pagan worship. You got your Christianity. Every hero is Christ. You got your ancient Horcruxes from Wicca. You got all types of shit. And you throw it together, and because it's Baha'i, the only true moral is like love is love. Unity is love.
Well,
it's good to be good.
All I'm thinking is say goodbye with working with Dwight from The Office.
That fucking idiot is Baha'i. I went into a rage spasm when I saw him on Real Time with Bill Maher when I was 16. I hope he's fucking dead.
Okay, so they got the boxes. Now I want to talk about the scene that Matt talked about. At some point, the Justice League, Batman has the idea. They're in possession of the third and final box, and they want to use the box.
The box.
They want to use the box to resurrect Superman.
Yeah.
Which leads to a scene where Cyborg and Flash literally dig up his fucking grave.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like they exhume his corpse and have a bit of cringeworthy dialogue.
It's
with
also
each other.
very unrealistic because you could see, as they begin the scene, that the grave is perfectly rectangular. The hole that they're
And it's
digging.
also
That's
very
preposterous.
fresh dirt. It was like potting soil.
Excuse me, they're superheroes. They can fucking do a square.
Then how come they dig
perfect
Why didn't he do
square?
it quickly?
Yeah,
He
why
even
did they-
She's like, I could do this more quickly, but I'm having a moral conundrum.
Yeah, why did he dig like a normie? He was a fucking bitch. That's why.
That was some cuck ass digging.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Even
know.
I like just as a person, I would never dig a grave like a normal person. I'm not a normal
No,
person.
you know
I'm
what?
a content creator. I would throw dynamite on the ground.
You know what? He
like
is.
in
He is the
Battlefield.
grave digger Beta, and you're the grave digger Chad.
That's right.
All I know is that they cut to a shot of Cyborg in a gray hoodie and the Flash just silently shoveling dirt, and it's just so incongruous that I laughed my ass off.
I mean, but at least there was something going on other than brooding monologues or battles. I actually felt slightly relieved by the whenever Batman would be like drinking from a demi-tasse. I'm like, at least there's some internal life happening right now.
Okay, this leads to my favorite scene in the movie, which is that they resurrect Superman by dropping the cube into Kryptonian jizz water.
Yes.
They
Yes.
put his fucking, like I said, rotting corpse
Which they
into.
don't show, but you
yeah.
can see it off, and they make it a little gray.
Yeah,
They show it from a very wide, long angle. They show them carrying this dead body in a suit, in his funeral suit.
This is the same
into a pod, and it's so awkward and hilarious.
And
Why didn't they
Joe Rogan is like, I need to use this isolation chamber. Can you guys get done with this shit first?
Why didn't they just write their way out of that and just be like, oh, wow, his body isn't decomposing because he's an alien and he's magic or some shit?
That's
but they
true.
didn't. They did these weird far-off shots to avoid it.
They put his corpse in the Kryptonian cum tribute that you last see in Batman versus Superman
Yeah.
with Lex Luthor.
Thank you, King Zach.
King
Another
Zach.
one of your trademarks, King.
Is cum tributes.
Yes,
Yeah.
King. I
So-
will never let Josh take another movie from
Flash
you. I love
do-
you, King.
Flash does E-Stim come tribute to the cube, and the cube jolts Superman's body back to life, which then leads to a very long scene where they're like, "Well, if we bring Superman back from the dead, will he really be Superman, or will he be like just a soulless annihilation god engine?"
That is actually a serious concern.
Okay, so
Like, they could have ended life on Earth if they fucked
they
that
do
up.
a scene where they resurrect Superman, and Superman is shirtless for this entire time.
Yeah, he could not find a shirt.
Superman
He
is
flew away and his pants were still there.
Yes,
He
he's
still
wearing
had
Put him
a pair
in the
of
cube.
chinos.
When they put him in the jizz recovery cube, he was wearing a whole suit. But when he wakes up, he's just wearing suit pants.
Excuse me, I had a wallet.
So the scene with the resurrected Superman is he's confronted by the members of the Justice League, who are like, "You have to remember who you are, Superman." And what I thought of this scene as basically they were doing gay conversion therapy to Resurrected Superman. They were like, "No, you are straight. Hit this pillow." And he was like, "Mother, mother, mother." And
Mother box.
Mother box. So they make Resurrected Superman hetero again.
No, I
by
think
bringing
it's
Lois
the other
Lane.
direction. I think he was red pilled and they're trying to bring him back.
Yeah.
Oh, he was Dark Enlightenment Superman.
Yeah.
He was like, equality is a false god. And Aquaman's like, I don't know what the fuck you said, but that sounds fucked.
Yeah, the Superman soup that they dipped him in was Nick Land literature.
You can't. This is like when my cousin went to college and he came back acting like he was fucking better than me.
But so then, because mad sort of quasi-amnesiac Superman then fights the whole Justice League and absolutely rinses them. And proves once again that they are the most redundant thing on Earth. You don't need anybody but Superman.
It's even insinuated that the Flash might not be as fast as Superman.
Yeah, Superman's
which
at
makes
least
him
as fast
the
as the
second
Flash.
fastest person.
Yeah, he's no use. He's the most use.
But of course, on their team, though, it's all about being the best at this one thing, which doesn't make sense when you put together, like, maybe also, like, the third and fourth fastest person on there, too. Hey, maybe they're not the fastest, but what if they're, like, even 80% as fast as the Flash? Could that not be useful to you?
My interpretation of that was, and I'm not trying to establish a canonical answer here, was that the Flash was approximately as fast as Superman. Just Superman is obviously, more physically powerful. It could just beat the shit out of him.
Which
but they're
proves that
going
he's
at the
inferior.
same speed.
Right.
He's inferior.
Of course he's inferior. Of course the Flash is
You
inferior.
don't need anybody but Superman.
Well,
So
correct,
and he
yes.
proves that by kicking all of their asses and then flying away with Lois to have the most awkward meet. There's two insanely awkward quasi-romantic scenes. One where Superman talks to Lois Lane in a cornfield by his home in Kansas, and
He
the other
starts out by groping the corn, too.
Yeah.
Just a normal thing people do in the Midwest when we're surrounded by corn.
You gotta grab
It looked like the only thing he could do therapeutically after coming back from the dead was shoot a Cialis ad.
Yeah. And the other one
slowly
was
walking through a field.
Amber Heard plays Aquaman's girlfriend, and he goes to Atlantis at one point, and they have a conversation
his love interest that he just met.
Yeah, in an air bubble. I think it's implied that they have a relationship.
No,
in
he
an
had never
air
met
bubble.
her because she said, "Oh, you were this person."
No. Yep. I thought she said, "Oh, you're back."
But
Yeah,
but
you're
he
back.
meant back in like the kingdom.
Oh, you're
but
right.
She
Heard
never
of
met
you.
him.
So
Yeah.
I guess he
So
basically
he was
hits
just being
on
a
her.
bitch to a stranger.
I guess he's hitting on her in an air bubble in Atlantis.
Yeah,
it's
and
bad though.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he's the kind of guy who's
both
just
of them
negging
harken
everyone
back.
he meets.
tried to nag a lot too. Yeah.
Both of them harken back to Anakin trying to hit on Padme in Attack of the Clones
Oh,
in terms
God.
of brutally awkward
Yeah.
interpersonal
More
chemistry.
beautiful, I mean.
Yeah.
Don't like the way I like
The difference, though, is that Jason Momoa is so attractive. It does not matter.
So they resurrect Superman. They make him hetero again through conversion therapy. Then he flies off to the Midwest with Lois. We didn't mention Lois, played by Amy Adams. She shows up early, mourning the death of Superman, and basically she's like, I was a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, but I'm sad now and doing posts on Medium about my feelings instead of writing for the Daily Planet.
She writes about ordering Grubhub just to talk to the delivery guy.
She's a sad poster. She's sad girl aesthetic.
Poster, yeah. She's like, so I wrote a thing. It's called Ghosted by Postmates. And they're like, Lois, you broke the big story about how Superman's real.
So they resurrect Superman because they realize they're not powerful enough to fight Steppenwolf. But then Superman goes away just long enough so that they can have the semblance of a climax where they're like supposedly struggling to win against the again, one of the worst villains in maybe film history.
And the Bugman.
And again, the team he assembled is a very fast man, an archer, and somebody who
Who's the
comes in
archer?
the ocean.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but she also has a sword.
She has a sword.
All right, archer / sort of dual wielder.
A medieval warrior, basically.
Yeah, but like a really good one.
Oh, she's good.
She's
Don't get
good.
me
Wonder Woman has super strength and near flight ability.
But I'm saying all of this is preposterous when viewed through the lens of Superman.
Yeah, again, but I think in this world they tried to create. There are like 5 really special people. Like, what are the odds? Isn't there someone else who's like good at flying?
Oh, no.
or something?
Where was
There will
NATO?
be. There will be, because the horrible ending of this movie, to skip forward a little bit, after they vanquish the bad guy, spoiler alert, they they show Wayne buying, I guess, like going to reopen his old Wayne Manor, like a big mansion. And he and Wonder Woman are there, and they're looking, we're going to put the desk here for 6 friends and more to come.
Oh,
so
great.
it's tune in
They're
for
gonna start a
more
podcast.
superheroes.
Yeah, so we get to have a sequel to this where there'll be like an extra 70 minutes of brooding monologues of 12
about
new
Martian Manhunter, who everyone's been
no.
dying to see on the silver screen.
No, that's really. I'm sorry. Where is NATO in all of this? All right.
Turning its back on Israel as always.
We have nuclear bombers. We have ICBMs at all times. But no, you know what? I'm very rich, and there's a very fast millennial that I know.
Well, no, NATO didn't participate because they actually funded Steppenwolf, and because he was fighting
They
against
trained
another
him to
rock
do one
creature.
thing, but then like they gave him a whole bunch of stuff that he did
They're
something
like,
else with.
Oh, we're sorry, we fucked up so bad. We gave him a
didn't know
surface.
he
we
would
gave
do
him.
this.
We gave him the boxes.
Yeah.
We gave him the box.
We gave him the box, and it's like, we're sorry that we brought bug slavery back. We really didn't mean to do that.
But the thing is, there was communism in this small
Yeah.
South American nation, so we had to give him the boxes to fight that communism.
We didn't realize the
and it
boxes
just got
would be
way out of hand.
We didn't realize they would ever turn the boxes on us.
In our defense, we thought it was cool to do. We thought he looked cool when he had the boxes and when he had that big rock.
He did look cool.
He looked cool. He had that big rock helmet that all the villains in this universe have. We're sorry.
We
We're
loved the
sorry.
CGI. We loved how he just kept saying box and mother over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah, I loved all of Steppenwolf's
So funny.
exposition where he's like,
What you humans don't understand is that I like being bad.
Eli,
like, wow.
They should
what
have
a
given him a German
moral universe,
accent.
yeah.
Eli Lake,
Zimmer's
Steppenwolf making a
boxes.
comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah, moderate Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf was written by what? Herman Hesse was that?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a German writer. Come on, fuck, what the fuck?
Well, someone who's worse than any German who ever wrote anything, Josh Whedon, has done worse things than anyone ever from Germany.
I have to say that this movie, it kept finding ways to tickle me in ways that I'm not used to being tickled by these
That was
movies.
me, Matt. I was sitting next to
I find I often am amused, but it's usually detached. I don't really get viscerally like just chuckle.
Yeah, Matt laughs
Were
at every.
you really high?
I was a little high, but I
No,
think it really.
was. If you weren't, you would realize that it was spellbindingly boring.
Oh, but there were so
like the
many funny
violence after a
parts.
while just became a texture.
But there were so many funny parts.
No,
I was just like
yeah.
simultaneously very angry and bored, but then also really attracted to people. It was like going through puberty in the Midwest again.
It's like when he's swimming, when Aquaman is swimming, when they're digging the grave. It's just everything looked hilarious. When Wonder Woman's
That was the
mother,
drugs.
Wonder
It was a
Woman's
deeply
mother
boring movie.
tried to
I would
run.
rather read Megan McArdle.
When Wonder Woman's mother tried to run away from Steppenwolf with one of the cubes on a horse, and it was like it should have had yakety sax as the soundtrack.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny scene. But the rest of the movie.
But they also did one thing where they literally capped a scene with the funniest thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
And I want to honestly, I want to say this is a spoiler alert. You should skip ahead like 30 seconds if you haven't seen the movie yet, because this is worth not getting spoiled. At the end of the movie, when they defeat Steppenwolf, there's a pause. They're all standing there having vanquished the bad guy, and they cut to Cyborg, and he just says, "Booyah." And I contend that is the funniest possible thing he could have said in
You
that
couldn't
situation.
breathe.
But the rest of the movie that wasn't the hysterical failure of woman Israel to protect the box. This is one box we're not going to eat. The rest of that movie felt like getting into a jacuzzi that was just shooting chemotherapy out of its jets.
This bolsters my thesis. The climax of the film takes place in this blighted post-Soviet Siberian city that was apparently constructed by a nuclear power plant that had a Chernobyl-like accident 20 years ago, and that's justified by saying, well, it's Russia. It's where desperate people have to live.
Yeah,
And
because basically they've been stung for years by everyone on Earth dying at the end of Man of Steel, and people being like, this is a superhero movie. Superman should not be getting a fight that accidentally kills half the population. So they've been very clear about having fights happen in depopulated areas. Like there's a line in Batman vs Superman where they go on this island and somebody just says out of nowhere, out of context in this war room. They go, it's uninhabited.
Well, right. Well, they're having
and also like when the
Jeffrey
when the
Epstein's
weird
Island.
evil interdimensional placenta is like spreading over the town. At one point, he goes, "Civilians," and they like go out of their way to protect this small number of Slavic peasants.
But they're having a fight somewhere where there are no people. There's just Russians, and the bugs take over this
Trump.
they swarm this family home, and you half expect the father to say, "It's all right. I'll call Paul Manafort." Their whole thing. He's putting the boxes together in a cooling tower of this, decommissioned nuclear reactor. And I fell asleep through this part, so you have to fill me in.
Nothing happened. I mean,
it's 20 minutes of god awful CGI fighting. Some of the most awful, disengaged, uninteresting. It doesn't even have that Zack Snyder's sheen and sort of auteurist vision and it's
the slowing down and speeding up,
speed
and
ramping. It's overblown and it's obnoxious, but at least it gives it some sort of a stamp. This was generic from top to bottom. It really is the worst of these movies, which is pretty amazing to say considering how bad and long they all are. This is the shortest one, and it still manages to be worse.
Although I realize, I always complain about how long and bloated these dumb things are, but I realize when you cut out any of the kind of internal or character development, you end up with this, which is like monologue, fight scene, brooding monologue, fight scene, brooding monologue, everyone get together and have an argument, then fight scene. And it's like, honestly, it becomes a texture after a while. Yeah. There are no events to it. It's deeply like boring.
It's like trying to eat an unseasoned bowl of grits with like some raisins thrown in there. Yeah. It's like you kind of want to get to the raisins to break up the monotony.
Right.
But when you get to them, you're like, why did I even want this? Why did I want this?
The raisins are every time the Flash goes, I'm sorry. Jeez. I just knocked over something.
I'm sorry, you can't find the humor in someone who says things like, and what's the deal with brunch? It's not lunch, it's not breakfast. I don't even know.
He actually says
flustered.
that, by the way.
Yeah,
he literally says that.
Yeah, because he's cool. And he's smart.
It was just a relief. Like, I couldn't handle any more slow-mo walking into the ocean shit.
Yeah, hey, Josh, it seems like you just copy and pasted an entire Seinfeld episode for the Flash's dialogue on this one. Copy and paste. Are we talking about Melania's RNC speech? We can't talk about that. We're talking about a super old evil that's inhabiting the earth. I knew that the Republicans won the House again.
This actually is a question, though. What with all of like Gash Whedon's like lady issues? Like, how did he not see? The phrase "mother box" is hilarious.
Mother box!
The best part of the film.
We must unite the mother boxes.
It hypnotized him. He was like, the two things I love the most.
Well, you know what happened is he put that mother box on a pedestal, and you never do that.
My favorite thing that I woke up for at the end was, I don't know who said it, but I just heard half asleep. Is this guy still bothering you?
Yeah, Superman said that.
Oh, yes.
He white knighted.
No, that was Superman's like entrance, like at the climactic moment when it looks like Steppenwolf has them cornered. You just hear from the back, is this guy still bothering you?
Talking about Wonder Woman, so he is white knighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
Super
Captain
Branson.
Save-A-Ho.
Captain Save a Box.
Oh, God.
There's one last detail from the...
Sorry. This is supposedly like the fucking generic feminist guy. How did he not know?
It's a mother's box. What?
because
You know what? To me, all boxes are mother boxes.
because Joss Whedon, he never turns off. Like, there's no sleep setting, so he's just in a room for 20 hours going, the cake is a lie. What? Does that mean it's in the Republican tax bill? The alternative facts?
Killing me with this.
And alternative facts, that's what you use to send Donald Trump's military service records, because he didn't go. And so no one can interrupt him, because no one wants to hear that. There's no person that can enter that hazardous work environment. So when they wrote in, mom pussy into the script 7,500 times, no one could go up to Josh and be like, this is really weird, man, because he was just going like, sort of retrofitting penny arcade strips to be vaguely feminist type of stuff he likes to do. One of the worst monsters ever made. Obama stood by and let him make movies. Blight on his record.
Look, generally we are principled anti-interventionists here.
No,
but if someone wants to bomb Josh Whedon...
Josh Whedon, he should have been... Look, I know some people are against capital punishment. That's fine. He just shouldn't have been allowed to do his evil. Bush tried to stop him. It's like, we all shit on Bush.
He should be in The Hague.
But Bush canceled Firefly. And it was worth the Iraq War. But it's just no more. No more Josh.
There's one last detail from the very end of this movie that I'm interested to know.
It was a montage showing them all going, like, how they've been changed. And one of the ways Wonder Woman has changed is she is now fighting crime on
She's
the reg.
still only on that art beat, though.
And it shows
She
her
only
stopping
deals with art crimes.
Yes, stopping art thieves.
What was Wonder Woman doing before she got back into crime fighting for 80 years? Was she like the first?
She was an
archivist.
She was a superpowered archivist for 80 years.
She did the
She was Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters.
No, the thing is, though, you say this is what WB hears you say. What was she doing for 80 years?
Oh, no. Delete.
We've got something to show you.
Delete.
Because as you guys might know, Wonder Woman 2 is already in pre-production, and the plan is it's going to feature her teaming up with U.S. intelligence to fight communists in the 1980s.
Mr. Donald Trump, I am 27. I am very scared. I do not want to see another Wonder Woman movie. Please stop. Please bomb production. Please embargo. Please, very bad.
But that's so
scared.
amazing because if that's true, you're picking an era of the Cold War when the opponent was cuddly reformist Mikhail Gorbachev, and the anti-communist coalition that the U.S. was allied with was Jonas Savimbi, P.W. Botha, and Efrain Rios Montt. So and she's going to be fighting with them.
Wonder Woman,
and
that's the real. That's the real Justice League.
The real Justice League. Oh. So before we close out, we got to do our favorite thing. Who are we in the movie?
I think I would be the Flash because I have his animal charisma and his logic.
You are the Flash, Virgil, because at one point in the movie he interrupts a Justice League meeting to ask if he can get food.
Yeah, his blood. He says his blood sugar was running low. That happens to me. Okay, that's a serious thing.
I'm Black Robot because I'm underdeveloped.
I think you're Superman because it's like sometimes we're like, we're waiting for you to show up, and we have
Sometimes
to
I'm not around.
Yeah, we have to put a cube in a box, which is like messaging you on WhatsApp, and it's like you're back, and then we can like go fight evil.
Well, I think
see a movie.
Yeah,
I think all women are Superman.
Chris has to be Cyborg because he is computer and man who puts the show together.
He works the boxes.
Yeah, Will is Batman.
Yeah. From a rich CIA family.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was going to say the leader, but
owner of a bank.
Felix is obviously Aquaman.
That's right.
He's the ocean bastard,
which makes me Wonder Woman.
That's right. You're hot. I have sex with you. We're partners. I love you.
Matt bristled at.
Follow this wonderful woman.
Follow this wonderful Gal Gadot. Yeah.
And together we are the
Justice League,
the harassment league,
the Injustice League, the systematic Injustice League, the thing we support. Till the next time.
Hopefully there won't be one because this movie ate shit and it might be the end of the DC universe.
Please.
Josh Whedon will be executed publicly.
It made a pathetic $400 million.
Well, it cost $600 million. They spent $600 million on this.
What did they? It looks so bad. Did they spend $200 million of that on new fedoras for Josh? New vests he can wear in photo shoots?
Well, they do
like
need
his
head.
Vest.
He loves vests.
He's a vest boy.
Yeah, he loves a vest, and he loves getting shot on film with like a sort of fake green, like absinthe Victorian tint.
Yeah, but his forehead is so massive, he needs to custom make fedoras. So
I can think of a way that can take care of his head problem.
Hopefully this is the end of it. Hopefully the absolute crime, the thing that, I mean, honestly, shouldn't you go to prison for spending that much money on something like this, considering what that money could be used for?
No, this is Versailles except ugly.
That's what I keep saying.
It's criminal.
This is our Versailles. This is our pyramids. This is our monument to our decadent elite, and it's so much shittier and more transient and more squalid than anything that came before.
I think it's great because I'm kind of aesthetically an accelerationist, and I think we need movies like this. We need movies like this. We need Melania's Tarkovsky Christmas.
Well, yes, we do. We do.
That's
So
cool,
people
though.
will be like, oh, these people are evil.
If you were a Japanese film executive and you made this movie, you would have to commit Harry Carey.
Yes. There is no Josh Whedon of Japan. They're all killed. Like, rightfully so. Like,
Well, they throw him off a cliff when they're 2 years old.
when they're born and they're like, what do you mean Krypton? You mean there's a Bizarro Superman? So that means that we have Bizarro Obama. His name is Donald Trump. They just hurl.
If they're
And they
first,
say you have brought shame to your family, and then they're executed.
if their
It's a great
first
country.
word is
Yes.
Imgur, they're thrown off Mount Fuji.
Yeah, Josh Whedon was born somehow anachronistic. I'm not going to say that word.
Anachronistically?
Yeah, I slept 2 hours again because of construction in the apartment next to me. But Josh Whedon was somehow born with an iPad loaded on Imgur in like 1967 or whatever he was born. He could somehow access it, and it informed his repellent personality, the crimes that he commits that harm all of us. I hate him. You know what? It's like Primo Levi said that there are no monsters. There are only men who, they're monsters, but they're few in number. They're men who enable their deeds, and that's the stars of this movie. But there is a monster. His name is Josh Whedon. Josh, you will answer for your crimes. Your name is not Josh. That's not a name. Shut
not
the
a name.
fuck up.
No.
Shut the fuck up. Fuck you. I fucking hate you. I hate your fucking cutesy dialogue about, oh, isn't it silly to be a nerd? 100 million people watch your fucking turgid normie bullshit. It's not, there's nothing interesting or indie about it. It's the most mainstream shit. Everyone knows what Superman is, you fucking cocksucker. You've engendered like just tens of millions of dental hygienists who tell people the cake is a lie. You've poisoned our culture. Islam is the only way we can rid ourselves of the stink you have brought.
The West must fall.
The West must fall. Fuck you. Die.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boxes.